The arm model consists of 10 consecutive dissections. I want to walk us through some of the major structures that we can see in these different layers with a focus on the pathways that different types of tissues take as they move from the arm through the forearm and down into the hand. We can start with a superficial dissection in which we can see the cutaneous nerves and veins as they're passing through the adipose and then going into the skin. We can also see this deep muscular fascia and tendons and muscles that are deep to that fascia on the anterior forearm. As I shift down to deeper layers, we can start talking about some of the muscles that we see. So here we see in this distal arm, we can see the biceps brachii, and this is the medial epicondyle, which serves as an attachment for some of these superficial muscles of the anterior forearm compartment. As we continue shifting to deeper layers, we can now see that some of these muscles have been reflected. For example, this is the flexor carpi ulnaris back here. We can also see now that that's been reflected, some of the ulnar nerve and artery and vein. We can also now see some of the deeper muscles of the forearm. Some of these are just hidden behind there, but as we move down to deeper layers, we can see them even better. For example, here we have the flexor digitorum superficialis muscle. We can follow that down into the hand where we can appreciate the different tendons of these muscles that are feeding into the digits. We can also see in these deeper dissections now some of the thenar muscles and hypothenar muscles. We can also see in the hand lumbricals there. And on the deepest dissection of this palmar surface, we can see the adductor pollicis over there. And then on the deepest, we can also see more easily palmar interosseous muscles. As I shift around posteriorly, we can also see all these different muscles of the extensor compartment, and as I go to superficial layers, we can see that these muscles are, of course, in the normal in situ position. So we could have also gone through this entire model and traced out arteries and nerves. For example, starting up with the arm, we have brachial artery, brachial vein, and things like the median nerve there and the ulnar nerve there. And we can trace all of these as we shift through different dissections. For example, in this particular layer, we can trace out the median nerve through the cubital fossa, and then we can see it distally as it's passing through the carpal tunnel and going into the hand. When we remove the carpal tunnel, we can now see the entirety of this median nerve and the individual branches that are going to the digits. We can also follow the ulnar nerve. So here's the ulnar nerve in this fairly superficial view, but as we shift deeper and deeper, we eventually can follow the ulnar nerve as it's coming down into the hand and giving off its many branches that supply some of the muscles of the hand. We can also follow the radial nerve. Here it is in the deepest layer, and in this deepest layer, we can see the radial nerve, and here's a branch of it, the superficial radial nerve, which has been cut, but a deep radial nerve that passes through the supinator muscle and then becoming this posterior interosseous nerve here. We can also see the anterior interosseous nerve right there. With the arteries, we can also follow all of the pathways of the brachial artery, subdividing into the radial and ulnar artery, and the subsequent branching patterns, again becoming the anterior interosseous artery, and then these various arteries that go into the hand. And as I shift back into a more superficial layer, we can appreciate things like this superficial palmar arch here, where the radial and ulnar arteries form an anastomosis.